The domestic environment when he came to power. When Deng Xiaoping officially came to power, China was in a complex and severe domestic environment. The background of this period can be summarized as follows. 1. Economic and social turmoil brought about by the Cultural Revolution. Economic downturn. After 10 years of the impact of the Cultural Revolution, 1966-1976, China's economic system has almost stagnated. Many economic activities have been interrupted, and industrial production and infrastructure construction have been in trouble. Agricultural production has also shrunk due to frequent political movements and unreasonable policies, and people's living standards are very low. 1.2. Social division. During the Cultural Revolution, social unrest intensified, intellectuals were suppressed, and the social trust system collapsed. Many cadres and intellectuals were persecuted. The education system was almost paralyzed, and cultural and technological development seriously lagged behind. Crisis of political confidence. The Cultural Revolution not only plunged the country into economic difficulties, but also brought about huge political instability, serious intra-party struggles, and a decline in people's trust in the government. 2. The power struggle after Mao Zedong's death. 2.1. Gang of Four collapsed. In 1976, after Mao Zedong's death, the Gang of Four was quickly crushed. This marked the end of the Cultural Revolution, but it also meant that the power struggle within the party remained fierce, especially on how to deal with the legacy of the Cultural Revolution and the future direction of the country. 2.2. Hua Guofeng's short-lived leadership. Hua Guofeng, as Mao Zedong's designated successor, briefly took control of the situation. However, because he continued to adhere to some of Mao Zedong's ultra-left lines, he was unable to effectively promote the country's transition to economic construction, which further intensified the conflict between reformers and conservatives. 3. Economic stagnation and people's living difficulties. 3.1. Economic growth is slow. Due to the destruction of production and the economy during the decade of the Cultural Revolution, China's economic growth has almost stagnated. Industrial and agricultural production efficiency is extremely low, materials are scarce, urban residents have insufficient daily necessities, and poverty problems are particularly serious in rural areas. 3.2. Employment problem is serious. A large number of educated youths were sent to rural areas, many factories closed down, and there was a large amount of unemployment or hidden unemployment in cities. State-owned enterprises have low production efficiency and cannot meet people's living needs. 3.3. Poor infrastructure. Whether it is transportation, energy or communications, the country's infrastructure lags far behind that of developed countries in the world and is in urgent need of reconstruction and development. 4. Calls for reform are growing stronger. 4.1. The rise of the reformists. Deng Xiaoping was overthrown twice before, but he adhered to the concept of economic reform and accumulated considerable support within the party. In 1977, Deng Xiaoping came back. He advocated economic development and implemented pragmatic policies, and gradually gained the support of more leaders. 4.2. People's expectations for change. After experiencing long-term economic difficulties and political turmoil, many cadres, intellectuals and ordinary people hope to end ultra-left policies and restore the economy and normal life order. 5. International isolation and economic blockade. 5.1. Diplomatic isolation. China's diplomatic relations were relatively tense at that time. Although Sino-US relations with the United States were eased in 1972, relations with the Soviet Union were still bad. Coupled with the economic sanctions and technological blockade imposed by Western countries on China, China's trade and technological cooperation in the international market are very limited. 5.2. Economic closure. China's economic model is still a highly planned economy and is out of touch with the global economy. Due to the long-term isolation of the country, China's technological level is backward, its foreign exchange reserves are very small, and foreign capital cannot enter, which has severely restricted economic development. 6. Struggle between two whatevers and the party line. 6.1. Two whatevers. After Deng Xiaoping's comeback, Hua Guofeng and his supporters implemented the two whatevers policy. That is, we will resolutely uphold all decisions made by Chairman Mao. We will unswervingly follow all Chairman Mao's instructions. This policy became a focus of debate between the far left and reformists within the party. 6.2 The call for ideological liberation. Deng Xiaoping and the reformists believed that they must get rid of the shackles of the two whatevers, emancipate the mind, and seek truth from facts in order to provide an ideological foundation for China's modernization. Deng advocated reviewing the legacy of the Cultural Revolution and improving the country's overall strength through economic construction. Summarize. When Deng Xiaoping came to power, China was facing severe economic difficulties, social unrest, political instability, and diplomatic isolation. All-round pressure from politics to economics to diplomacy required reform.